Hey everyone, it's Willow and we're at the Dells. Our friend Kat, say hi Kat, where are you? Wait, there you are. Kat's taking us to the Dells and let's see what kind of adventure nonsense we can get into today. So much nonsense. When Kat texted Caden and I and asked if we wanted to go on a road trip adventure, of course we said yes. That's right, this week we're off to the Dells, and if you haven't been to the Dells or heard of them, it's like the Las Vegas Strip of Wisconsin. They're known for their hotels, food, and roadside attractions. In fact, these are pamphlets from when my grandparents visited in the 50s. And if you want to see them, they'll be up on my Patreon for as low as $1. We grabbed parking at one of the free lots, and being that it was the middle of the week, there were plenty of spaces and the crowds were low. The parking lot was right across from the Dells, so once you cross the street, you get this beautiful view of the Dells and a bridge for trains. And our timing was perfect because right as we got there, we heard a train coming by overhead and watched it for a few minutes. And just past that bridge is the walking trail that we're going to be walking at the end of this video. Also, Ripley's Believe It or Not has a location here, and my friend Curtis, who's gone to so many of their locations, says that it's his favorite. We'll have to check it out in a later video. The Dells is home to many candy shops. This just happened to be the first one we went to. Candy Connection had an assortment of chocolate, fudges, saltwater taffy, novelty toys and candy, all sorts of things. I had to check their gummy section, but I was disappointed that they didn't have my favorite Haribo gummy, the Gummy Egg. They had it in Star Mix in the UK when I went there, but then when they brought Star Mix to the US, they took it out. How dare them. It was tempting to buy all the fabulous knickknacks and candy varieties they had. Especially the Jelly Bellies, they had a huge assortment. A snack?
Oh, I used to have like 3 of those.
I love them.
Do you want watermelon rock candy? We'll find out. Next door is Souvenir City, which was a very descriptive name considering the fact they had a little bit of everything. They had some questionable stuffed animals, like, what the heck is this thing? But I was actually excited about the postcards, which were going to be a Patreon perk for only $4, and I'll send you a handwritten postcard. So make sure after the video you click the link in the description. The Pickled Cowboy caught our attention, and it was really hard to miss because of the giant boot out front of the building. They had boots in different styles, and check out this life-size steer. In the back was Wildberry, which is one of my favorite incense brands, and they make Fizzy Pop, which is a stick that smells like Sprite plus a little bit of carbonation, and I don't know how they get the carbonation smell. Out of all the clothes though, I really thought this hat was pretty. Pickled Cowboy also appeared to have their own brands of food products. This flag of bees made Caden extremely happy because often people don't realize honeybees are not native in the US and they're contributing to the decline of native species. This has been a bee fact by Caden. Famous Dells photographer H.H. Bennett has an entire museum dedicated to him, and I will be visiting this in a future episode, so stay tuned. But we decided to sit in the shady area between the museum and his old studio. And just like any road trip, Caden was quick to find an ant. A carpenter ant worker. So I asked him if he could share a fact with us.
They don't actually spray acid, they just have acid in their mandibles when they bite stuff. So they also can't sting you because they don't have stingers.
This has been an ant fact brought to you by Caden. In the middle of the Dell Strip, there's a place called Wally World, which probably pisses off Walmart, but what can they do? Inside Wally World is the Torture Museum, as seen on the History Channel. We decided to see if it lived up to the world's most interesting museum, and it turns out they're doing a special exhibit on John Wayne Gacy. However, this video is specifically about the Dells, and if you want to see the Torture Museum, hit the subscribe button because that's where we're going next week. I love all the colossal building facades, like check out this gorilla. Speaking of colossal, we couldn't help but notice this store called Jurassic World. It had dinosaur bones, it had enormous rocks and gems, and check out these teeth. After exploring the rocks and fossils, we walked across the street to the cheese factory. Not the cheesecake factory, the cheese factory. And they had a clock tower with a robot show going on, but we caught the end of it and missed it. Then Kat took Caden and my picture in front of the fountain while we listened to this horrible bell racket for about 20 minutes.
That's all. Let me not have my phone in my back pocket.
Da 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 da. Are we playing like a weird off start? Yeah, I don't even.
I thought that was like. So it meant it was gonna do something, but.
It just keeps making annoying sounds.
Next, we went into Carr Valley Cheese, and Caden got, you guessed it, coffee! It was then decided that we didn't want to carry around a big block of cheese with us for the rest of the day, so we moved on to the hot sauce store that was next door. And the cool thing about this is they had all the flavors out front so you could try them. It wasn't just hot sauces, it was also barbecue sauces, hot seasonings, and some really, really hot ones as well.
What's the Scoville on the end?
The end is going to be 6 million Scoville. It uses Reaper peppers as well. This right here, the end flatline, is actually going to be 7 million Scoville.
And just so you have something to compare to, the hot one's last dab is 2 million Scoville, this one is 7 million, and you have to sign a waiver in order to try it.
I'm not gonna try that.
I am Zoltar. Your future involves lunch.
Good idea, Zoltar. And for lunch, we went to Mac's, which stands for Macaroni and Cheese Shop. And they're known for their large variety of, well, macaroni and cheese. So we decided to eat outside on this beautiful day. I got the original, and Caden got the taco mac and cheese.
Which one did you get, Kat?
We got the jalapeno popper.
There's a truck.
And Kat got interrupted by a truck.
We got the jalapeno popper.
Now we're gonna head on over to the river walk and check out the river. Leave it to Caden to find a bug. And a cool one at that, this pretty blue color.
I think it's a kind of wasp.
Yeah.
Cool, and I'll use this for any other bugs that I find.
If you like playing checkers or chess, they even have a board set up on one of the tables that you can play while you overlook the river. There were quite a few boat tours in the area, though we decided not to do one because it was really packed together and we didn't want to be that close to people. So we just decided to stand here and take this really cute photo. I wanted to give a shout out and a huge thank you to our friend Kat, who is the one who suggested that we go on this adventure today. She shared with us all this knowledge about the Midwest, including one little game that you can play in the car while taking long road trip.
So what is the cow game, Kat?
So you play Those Are My Cows when you're driving. It works really well for very long car rides. So every time you see a cow, you say, "Those are my cows." First person who says it gets a point. If you point to something that is not a cow and you say, "Those are my cows," you lose a point. The extended version of the game, if you pass a church, you can say, "Marry my cows," and your cow count doubles. And if you pass a graveyard, you can say, "Bury your cows," and that resets everyone else's cow count to 0. And there is no winner. You just keep going until all the cows are claimed or you get to wherever you're going.
That is so Midwest and I love it, and thank you for sharing that.
Anytime.
And like I said earlier, next week's episode is the Torture Museum, so hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss a thing. Also, check out my Instagram account if you want to see some behind the scenes pictures, or you can even sign up for some extra behind the scenes footage on my Patreon as well. I'll see you next week at the Torture Museum. Hey, if you're still watching, type the word balloon in the comments. I want to see how many people are still watching at this point.